guest here tonight. This is our first development to ever go through the PUD process, the Plan Unit Development process. And as Beth said, it took an extra effort from our staff to get us to this point, but it also took, I think, a unique developer that wanted to do this and sought to create something in our community that we've never had.
Good afternoon. Citizens Minutes 34th edition. My name is Robert Wilkins. The sun continues to come from behind the clouds with temperatures reaching high of 84 degrees on a March afternoon on the plains of Auburn. Even Studio One has a dusting of pollen all over it. There are a total of 5 citizens sharing their concerns during the Open Citizens Forum at the March 3rd council meeting. First citizen thanked the mayor for attending the annual Presbyterian Community Ministry banquet, which serves the residents of Lee County, Alabama, through zero-interest loans for utility assistance, emergency home repair, and safe housing-related expenses. Second citizen stated that citizens' rights are ignored and have been ignored. The city manager, with the council and the mayor, ignored the rights of citizens for too long. Third citizen spoke about the Indivisible Auburn Protest, the suicide prevention at East Alabama Mental Health, with police responsibilities of those matters. Fourth citizen, the Auburn Chamber of Commerce president, talked about sharing the rendering of the new location. The last citizen talked about Mayor Anders suspending the rules concerning a member of the school board, while Solid Waste Management Fund won't release 2 general ledger account items, and how the council pick and choose whose adversities they help and who they don't help.
As the new office administrator of Presbyterian Community Ministry, known as PCM, I wanted to take a minute to thank Mayor Anders and Treva Hadley from Community Services for attending our annual luncheon on President's Day. If you are not familiar with PCM, we are an ecumenical ministry of compassion housed at First Presbyterian Church here in Auburn and begun in 1969 to serve the residents of Lee County through no-interest loans for utility assistance, emergency home repair, and safe housing-related expenses. This year's luncheon was a great chance to honor Mary Turnbull, who has served in this role for the last 30 years, during which she interviewed and assisted more than 11,000 families from Auburn, Opelika, and every corner of Lee County, and distributed more than $2.5 million to help our neighbors make ends meet with a hand up rather than a handout. I'd like to encourage each of you council members to mark your calendars for next President's Day to attend and learn more about the extensive good work of PCM.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Citizens' rights are ignored and have been ignored. The city manager with our council and mayor have ignored the rights of the Auburn citizen for too long. Appointments of 120 members comprised of 22 boards and 1 commission are basically controlled by the same families and associates for generations. I guess for maybe their personal benefits, allowing most of these members to be appointed for 2 terms that amount to 8 years, 10 years, and 12 years, while misusing the pool of Auburn city talent should not have happened. Even the few task forces that have been formed, their members have had their responsibilities neutered by the mayor and city manager over the years. The Auburn City Council is made up of good and respectful members, but unfortunately are ill-informed. They allow the city manager to belittle citizens who speak out while controlling information that hinders their decision process, which affects the Auburn citizens' lives. Public records requests are being ignored by our city manager concerning excessive expenditures for Solid Waste Management Fund, excessive city government growth, excessive automotive purchases, and so much more. The city continues to allow the city manager to spend the bloated and excessive revenue with limited citizens' involvement. It's time to stop government growth while accounting for all of our funds expended and used for the proper needs. It is time to change the direction of downtown, a direction of the 2030 and 2040 Auburn plans that are affecting every citizen in every neighborhood. It is time to form real citizens task force that address citizens' issues and develop strategies that will be approved by the council and carried out by the Auburn City Management. It is time for the Auburn citizens to get their local neighbors to run for council members and mayor. We should never have uncontested council positions, including the mayor's position. Unfortunately, this has been the fault of we. Yes, we the Auburn citizens. We must vote intelligently. Thank you.
And tonight, the suicide prevention issue, I spent over 20 years working at East Alabama Mental Health as an office manager most of the time at Family and Children's Services, but then also at Russell County Clinic. And I've seen over and over again how our police officers are called to deal with these issues. I also have a family member who completed a suicide at 13. I have a family member who is now on complete and permanent disability with the VA because of PTSD issues mostly. So this is a personal issue and it's a professional issue. I really hope that Auburn Police Department can look at adding social workers to their force, because it has been shown to drastically decrease the repeat calls and the ability to connect people with the services they need. And so that is my first point about Auburn Police Department today. It's not that the police officers don't want to do what they can do, it's not what they're trained to do. Also, none of you will be surprised that I am involved in the Indivisible Auburn Protest at Toomer's Corner and other places in town. But I want to thank the Auburn Police for how they patrol the area during our protests. We are peaceful protests. We try, when we're on Toomer's Corner, we try and make sure that the corridors are clear for people to get either to the trees or to the corner, to the lights, on campus, wherever. And at times, especially amongst some of the younger protesters, when they see a police cruiser and they're worried that somebody's going to be trying to start something, because that is what is seen. But we try and help them understand that Auburn's police are professional law enforcement, and they are trained and they understand that even if they don't agree with what we are up there saying, that it's their job to maintain the peace, to make sure that we have the right to peacefully protest and that we don't interfere with others. And so I want to thank the Auburn Police Department for doing that.
President of the Chamber of Commerce, and I just want to say thank you for the discussion that you had today. I also want to thank you for the kind words that you mentioned about the work that we do at the Chamber. I'd like to just extend an additional welcome of an opportunity to discuss any questions that you might have about our project. I know I sent you an email asking you or giving you that opportunity, but I want to say it in person, and certainly would love to spend time sharing our renderings, giving any clarification that you might have. Councilman Moorman, I'm not quite ready to announce where our office will be because the lease is not finalized, but we will have a place that we will be in transition, and I certainly look forward to the April 7th meeting and hope you will consider voting in favor of us. Thank you.
I want to circle back to the board appointment for the Board of Education. I think it's a horrific practice that we suspended the rule, y'all suspended the rules and refused to take applications from Auburn citizens. The mayor asked to suspend the rules and every council member went along with him. Auburn has a lot of talented people, yet this council ignores its citizens. Because of this practice, very smart and talented people don't bother to apply because they know there's no use. This is not about the board member that was reappointed. It's about the fact that you always reappoint the boards, which nullifies the intended length of the time to serve on each board. On the Board of Education, with 5-year terms, a reappointment to a second term means that nothing changes for a full decade. Please consider reevaluating the process of reappointing the boards so other talented people have the opportunity. On February 3rd, Mr. Wilkins addressed this council again, asking for financial information for the Solid Waste Management Fund. He is seeking 2 general ledger account items. Why won't the city provide this information? If you don't want to print a report so that it becomes a public record, why not invite him to come to the office and let him get the information off of the computer screen? Those who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. The city has spent more time and money trying to avoid these two general ledger accounts. My computer system could pull it up in a heartbeat, and I know y'all's system is much more improved than mine. The council, the city manager works for you, and you are supposed to work for the citizens. Mr. Mormon, can't you facilitate getting the information for Mr. Wilkins? At the end of the meeting on February 3rd, this council spent a large amount of time trying to discredit Mr. Wilkins. It's shameful the way you attack those of us who come to the podium over genuine concerns. At the last meeting, this council spent time discussing a business that had been adversely affected by a law that limited her income. I found your discussion sad, not just for the business owner, but because it showed the blatant hypocrisy of some on this council. I liken it to the short-term rental situation where the STR5 passed an ordinance that totally shut down 151 families and decimated their income as it went to zero. Where is your concern for them? Some had to sell their homes, like the business owner is trying to avoid. Most of the 151 families were engaged in STRs were a benefit to the community and had been contributing to the community for the same 10 years mentioned. You violated the Constitution, then continue to be untruthful every time you pledge
Thank you, Ms.
allegiance
Bolt. Your
to our
time is up.
flag.
Your time is up.
Fix Ordinance
Thank you.
3288.
Thank you.
Ronald Reagan was quoted as saying, "No government ever voluntarily reduces itself in size. Government programs, once launched, never disappear. Actually, a government bureau is the nearest thing to eternal life we'll ever see on this earth." Citizens' questions. Frank asks, I noticed that over the last 4 years, the city government revenue has drastically increased by tens of millions of dollars. What are they doing with all that money? Well, Frank, it's very, very simple. They just spend on their huge salaries while hiring more employees, buying more equipment and vehicles. In other words, whatever they want to spend it on. Please make comments on Citizens Minutes by going to nextdoor.com or youtube.com. Your counsel is only as good as the information that you gather. Thank you.
Admirable,
You're done.
while five of
Ms.
your fellow
Bolt, you are
councilmen
done.
care to
Ms.
protect the
Bolt,
Constitution
you
and
are
our
done.
rights.
And I don't know what qualifies you to make the decision, the police department needs this or too aggressive, whatever. I don't know where your qualifications come from.
Claiming that their rights were being violated. And I take my job very seriously.
Become a danger zone for Americans who still
Point
cherish.
of order, Mr. Mayor. Our library is not dangerous at all.
It is morally dangerous.
They do not want citizens' input. They just want our money.